Was it uphill both ways?
Yes, both ways.
Yeah.
It was uphill a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was downhill.
Well, it was
To get to the
sort of
valley and then
downhill, but
uphill.
it was uphill a little bit as well.
Yeah, it was downhill and then it went uphill
was
again
both-
and then
both
downhill
ways.
again and then it went back.
Well,
We're too tired to think right now.
yeah, just
Okay, let's recap our summer adventures so far. We started our journey in Mukwonago, Wisconsin, and headed south to St. Louis, Missouri, gateway to the west and the beginning of the Lewis and Clark expedition. We then traveled west to Kansas City, then north to Sioux City, Iowa, and north to Pierre, South Dakota. Since we scheduled a repair on our RV a few weeks out, we took a detour off the Lewis and Clark Trail to the Badlands of South Dakota and then west to the Rapid City area where we saw Mount Rushmore and Custer State Park. After our detour, we got back on the Lewis and Clark Trail at Mobridge, South Dakota, and then north in Bismarck, North Dakota. This week, we continued to follow the Missouri River all the way to Fort Peck, Montana. Our drive from Bismarck to Fort Peck took us past Theodore Roosevelt National Park, known to some as the Badlands of North Dakota. We didn't have time to stay, but we did carve out time for a short hike through this beautiful national park.
What do you think, kid?
I think it looks like it's a worthy hike to hike on. It's Gideon approved
Nice.
so far.
It's less than 1 mile, and
right.
it's a lot less than Mount Harney Peak.
It's 0.9 miles. Mount Harney Peak
All
was
right,
like
let's
7
go.
and a half.
We are almost done with the Painted Canyon hike. The last push is uphill. I think it's about a 2,000 foot climb. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. If this is the last recording I ever make, tell my family I love them.
So Gideon, how do you feel?
It was hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Why?
Because,
It was really hot. Yeah, it was hot. It was uphill. It was only 0.9 miles, so it was less than a mile. And it was hot. It's like 82 degrees when we left, so it's probably like 90 degrees by now. And it was uphill most of the time, and there was lots and lots of stairs. Not much of a breeze and not much shade.
What do you want right now? What do you want to do?
Ice cream.
air conditioning and ice cream.
I want ice cream.
I want ice cream.
I'll give you the air conditioning part.
Daddy, how do you feel?
I'm great!
No, you're not.
Seriously? Mommy, how about you?
That was a hard hike up the hill.
Mommy, how about you?
I liked it. It was hot though, so I wouldn't have wanted to hike any longer, but that was a fun hike.
Did Daddy pick a good hike?
No.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Daddy picked a good hike. All right, let's go.
I feel hot, and I want air conditioning. Now.
Should we fill up water?
When we're on the road, we always have an eye out for fellow Wisconsinites. We ran into this sweet family at Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Hey, we're the Hatch family from Janesville, Wisconsin.
Janesville, what's your name?
David.
David,
Nathan.
Amy, Olivia, and you are following Custer's journeys.
Somewhat.
Did Custer go out to the Pacific?
No.
I think he was kind of.
Furthest he made it was to the Little Bighorn.
Yeah.
He didn't make it back.
Yeah, he opened up a custard stand out there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What, can I ask what you do in Janesville?
I work at Taylor. We make ice cream machines.
Oh, nice.
Any fast food grills and everything. So.
Nice. All right, go Badgers.
Okay, go Badgers.
So I want to give you an example of why we prefer camping in state parks and recreation areas as opposed to private RV parks. Because I'm looking around here and this is our backyard right now. It's a couple 100 yards to the closest RV. We are at Fort Peck, and it's just beautiful. There's nobody around. It's like, why aren't people using this? So we enjoy having the space, we enjoy the open areas, the trees, the wildlife. We like the state parks.
Fort Peck is likely not a place you've ever heard of, but it's packed with historical significance. If you have ever visited a state or national park, you're likely familiar with the term Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC. Fort Peck Dam is the largest hydraulically filled dam in the U.S. and creates Fort Peck Lake, the fifth largest man-made lake in the United States, built by the Civilian Conservation Corps. Fort Peck Dam's creation was a project under the New Deal in the 1930s under the FDR administration. Approximately 10,000 personnel and their families moved to this area to build the dam. But because no town existed here, a community was built to house and support the workers. The Fort Peck Interpretive Center is a beautiful, family-friendly museum that pays tribute to the construction of the dam and the history of the area.
So we are about to take a guided tour of the Fort Peck Dam. And we're not allowed to bring cameras in, so we're not able to bring you with us. But we'll give you an update when we get back. They said there was a big windstorm here last week, and there's metal that was torn off of one of the buildings, so we're not able to go to generator number 2. But we'll still get a tour of generator number 1. Katie is our tour guide giving us a tour, and we'll let you know how it turns out. All right, so I am standing just below the Fort Peck Dam. The Missouri River is right up here behind this big wall. Am I pointing to it?
Yep.
All right, so that big wall is holding up the lake. Is there a name of the lake? I don't know the name of the lake. Anyway, it's the body of water created by the Fort Peck Dam, and there's nothing holding up that body of water that's 250 feet above me other than the mud and the earth that the Corps of Engineers built right behind me. So this is the actual dam. Now what happens is right over here you can see there's 4 gates, and that's where the water comes out of the dam underground, and it travels over 1 mile in length to get from those gates to those towers, those 2 towers over there. And the tube that takes that water, what did they say, 18 feet in diameter? And there's 4 tubes. So there's 4 tubes, I think probably 1 for each of those towers, and that water rushes down at 126 miles per hour. That water is rushing down to those 2 towers over there. Can you see them? That's the power plant. That's where the generators are. And so the water rushing down those 18-foot diameter tubes, they spin a turbine. That turbine spins a magnetic wheel, and that's what creates electricity. And this electricity goes all over the area, not just Montana, but they said North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. They sell this power all over. So this is a huge operation. I was just so impressed with the tour. I don't know why there aren't more people here. This is awesome. What type of work do you want to do in the future? Gideon, you seem to be excited by engines and motors and like, do you want to be an engineer? Do you want to be the people on the work crew? They weren't lifting shovels and moving dirt, but they had to understand the science behind how steel and iron and rock and weights and water pressure. They were scientists, and they had to understand that stuff and design the stuff. Sarah, you said you're interested in photography, right? At the very beginning, before anything was ever done, remember they said they had aerial photographs. So somebody with a skill in photography, they had to go up in a plane and probably flew all around here and taking pictures of the land, and then they had to study the land, and they had to find out that this was the ideal location to build the dam.
Yep.
You know, so Sarah, if you want to, like learning photography is a skill that if you learn it well and you do a good job at it, people can pay you for those skills. You could work with that and earn income to support yourself. Hannah, let's all think, what are some skills that Hannah has?
Cartographer.
A what?
She could be a cartographer.
What's a cartographer?
Isn't that a map maker?
A map maker.
Don't you have to have artistic skills to make maps?
Yeah. You have to have artistic skills and design. Somebody had to draw all this. Maybe an architect. Let's help Izzy think. What are Izzy's skills that she could use?
Izzy's good with little kids.
Somebody needed to babysit and watch the kids.
I could be an artist.
Yeah. So, kids, I want you to think about maybe this summer as we're journeying through here. What is it? How has God gifted you? What are you good at? What are your passions? What are your desires? And then work towards that. That's what we're trying to do with homeschool.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
So today's walk has been a little bit of a challenge. We all desperately need more exercise, so we've been trying to hike more, but today it was met with some pretty nasty attitudes.
I enjoyed it so far, at least. This part of me was hurting, but like right here, like on the top of my leg. But like after we stopped for a minute, it just stopped hurting. So
I think the first hike we ever did, you guys probably remember that. Me and one other person that shall not be named did not have the best attitude during that hike. And now I'm the only kid who likes doing hikes.
At least today.
At least today.
But Penny's loving it.
Yeah. Penny, say hi. Say hi, Pen. Nope. Okay. See ya.
She's out of here. So we've had a little problem with our largest slide in the galley area. Apparently the subfloor split and we have had difficulty getting the slide to come in the way that it should. So we took it in this past week to be repaired, and the repair job was not so good.
Not so good.
They attached like a metal sheet with rivets to the inside, and that gets it in, but the problem is that they did not attach the metal sheet on the outside of the slide, and so when we slide out it just scoots that metal sheet in. And so Joe is attempting to attach that metal sheet in a more permanent fashion so that it doesn't slide in when we try to slide out. So anyway, adventures in RVing.
How does this compare to Harney Peak?
This
Equal.
So Harney Peak was like 7.5, 8 miles.
Yeah.
Took us 7 hours.
Yeah.
And this was equal to that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
We gotta do more hiking.
No.
Nah.
What do you want right now? What do you want to do?
Ice cream.
Air conditioning and ice cream.
I want ice cream.
I want ice cream.
I'll give you the air conditioning part.
Well,
We want ice cream.
All right,
we just
let's go.
need a McDonald's.